You could do the Bachelor or the Bachelorette where everybody's a Disney character.
Welcome, friends and fans, to another edition of GalaxyCon Live, where we are bringing the convention experience directly to you. And today we are going back under the sea with two fantastic guests from Disney's 1989 classic, The Little Mermaid. So without further ado, let's wish upon a star and bring them out. Our first guest is an actor whose body of work includes the Brady Bunch movies, Starman, and several animated versions of Spider-Man. Today joins us as the voice of Prince Eric in the original Little Mermaid. Please welcome back our friend, Christopher Daniel Barnes.
Hey, everybody. How's it going? Good to be here.
Hey, Christopher, how you be?
I'm doing really well, all things considered, and I'm thrilled to be here.
Glad to have you back as always. And yes, we are. I would say we got out of the first tunnel and everything was good for a while. We're in another tunnel, but I think it's a smaller tunnel, and I think we're going to get out of it quicker. So yeah, that's just the way it is. Okay is the new awesome.
That's right. Hey, one step at a time and moving forward. And what's the old saying? If you're walking through hell, keep walking.
That's a good way to do it. Yeah, and don't ask where the water fountain is, because you ain't gonna get an answer. Well, Christopher, as always, glad to have you back in good health and a good spirit.
Thank you much. Thank you much.
Mm-hmm. And next, she is an actress whose body of work includes the grim adventures of Billy and Mandy, Camp Lazlo, and the highly undervalued series The Pirates of Darkwater. Today, she joins us to discuss the role of Princess Ariel. Please welcome back everyone's friend, Jodi Benson.
Hey, my friends! Happy New Year!
And Happy New Year! Oh, indeed. Jodi, how have you been?
Great. I am ready for 2022. I'm so ready for this year. And, we're going to get through this crazy time right now. And we're going to come through stronger together. But I know we are all ready to get back in person and, to be safe and healthy with each other.
Absolutely. And I cling to the optimism that yes, and whatever we experienced in the past with the first round of this, I think the second round is going to be much smaller, and I look forward to hosting both of you on our physical stages this year at our shows. Again, Christopher, we missed you in Raleigh. Jodi and I, we had a wonderful time on our stages, and I look forward to sharing that with both of you.
Yeah.
In the meantime, as always, welcome back to the GalaxyCon virtual stage. Our team's going to the chat room right now, pulling out the questions for us. In the meantime, let's throw this out just because we have a fun graphic for it. Paul, get it ready. Let's go ahead and do a Fandom Crossover challenge. And if you, this comes from Andre. If you could do a Fandom Crossover with any character you have played in the past, with your Little Mermaid character, what would it be and why?
Oh my goodness.
Well, I think I'll give you time to think about this one. Because it's easy for me. I mean, of course, it's Prince Eric and Spider-Man fighting evil together.
Yeah,
Spidey would be swinging from the mast, and right, and Prince Eric would be a perfect day to be at sea, and we'd get the bad guys.
Yes, I think I would cross Ariel with Thumbelina, because we can cover underwater, we can cover on land, but also with Thumbelina's size, she can get through anything, and get anywhere and be hidden. So she'd be quite the wonderful spy. So I think they would make a great team.
I would concur with both of these. And then of course we do a quad crossover where those two characters and the other two characters come together in an adventure.
Okay, that would be fun. I'd like to fly with Spider-Man. I think that would be so fun. I just saw the new movie and I thought that would be so much fun to, fly and do all that fun stuff on the webs.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that is. This way, is that how you do it, like that?
It's a very personal artistic
decision. Personal choreography point.
That's right.
Okay.
The classic comic version is kind of like that.
That's right.
Sort of like the "I love you" but turned this way. Is that what it is?
Okay. The thwip,
cool.
all that. See, we're learning a lot here today, aren't we? And since Spider-Man is now part of the Disney family, this is all good. Hey,
That's right.
we're all that stuff too. And we are good to go on our audience questions. So let's go ahead and roll our first one. Thank you for that opener, Andre. Here's one from Jen, who wants to know, who were you the most inspired by when you first joined Disney?
Okay. I would have to say, for me, probably would be Roy Disney Jr., which is Walt's nephew. When I started with the company, I was just in awe of getting to meet him. And we became friends, and he sort of became like a father figure to me through the years before he passed away. And I was just so inspired by him to hear the stories of him growing up and his passion and desire for the company to be held in the same sort of precious way that his uncle did. And of course, we didn't get to meet Walt. He passed away before I was born, I think. No, maybe he passed away after I was just maybe 3 or 4 years old. And so meeting Roy and becoming friends with him and part of the family was really inspiring to me.
Roy definitely was, and his father was just as important as
Right.
Walt was. If to anyone who knows Disney history, and Roy definitely did everything he could to keep that tradition going on. And
Absolutely. Yeah.
I envy you that opportunity you had to have a great relationship.
Yeah, he was a great man. He was loving, kind. He was so funny, but so wise, so wise. So, to go to somebody like that and to ask for advice or to ask for some kind of wise counsel in making some decisions along the way in life was just a huge gift. So I was thankful.
I still every once in a while I say, yeah, I got to head down to the Roy, which is the Roy Disney recording studio here in Orlando, and do some work there. So yeah, it's just like, yeah, I'm going to spend the afternoon at the Roy. So he is certainly remembered in my heart and in my work, my continuing work at Disney. So there you go.
I think that for me it was because I was so young, when I was just 15 at the time about, and so I had this sense of being a part of the Walt Disney tradition, and I had gone from literally watching Disney movies, right as a kid, to all of a sudden being a part of Disney. I felt this sort of larger than life looming presence of Walt Disney. I was like, whoa. I didn't really, of course, understand what all that meant as a kid, but I knew enough to think like, wow, I'm actually in the studio, I'm in the place where all that happened, of the stuff that I watch. It was really interesting to me. So it was so inspiring to think like, wow, I'm part of this tradition. Little did I know how much that would actually
Right.
become true. So anyway, yeah, I'd say Walt Disney, just himself, just the presence of the man as a sort of icon was really, really daunting and interesting and inspiring.
And there you have it. Jen, thank you. That was a lovely question. And what do we have next? Here's one from Trent. Wow. What is your favorite scene from the movie?
Okay.
Classic.
You have to go first.
I gotta go with Part of Your World. I just have to. I mean, I love Under the Sea. I love the sequence, but I mean, Part of Your World is so iconic. It is so coming of age. It is so perennial. It is part of the eternal mythos of the human condition, and it's one of the reasons why I think the film has endured. Why Jodi's particular interpretation of the mythology has endured and will endure. If you want to know if something is great art or if it's going to survive, just ask yourself, could a young woman or anybody, quite frankly, be singing Part of Your World in 500 years? Yeah, because that's part of the human condition. I mean, it's part of the human condition. So I got to go with Part of Your World.
Yeah, I'm going to have to say that scene as well, and not because of my performance or my participation in it necessarily, but I think the animation from Glenn Keane is so brilliant, and it was so unique and different that it was literally felt so real and so authentic. But then the song, it's just Howard and Alan and the I want moment that I think everyone can relate to in some way. You know, each person can relate to those lyrics, I think, in any walk of their life, or any swim of their life, shall we say. But I think it's just such an important song, and the animation sequence is so brilliant. Um, so I'm going to have to say Part of Your World as well.
I think
Fair.
Part of the World and Let It Go are probably going to be the two greatest Disney songs, and
Oh, yeah, beautiful song. And again, one of those
very
songs
similar theme. Yeah.
each person
No,
in
that's
that
right.
I want moment can relate to
Yep.
in some way. You know, you can connect with those lyrics.
Yeah. My non-musical scene, and it's not even a scene, just a moment. And as an animation nerd, the first time I saw it, I was just so. That was a really nice aside. Just the scene when Ursula's holding the king over the barrel, and just that shot of just it, just that when he hangs his head low, holds the trident, zaps his name on the kind of giving you the power, but he's doing it for his daughter.
Right.
There's that moment of you've got me. Yeah, I shouldn't do this, but there is nothing that I won't do for any of my children.
Right.
And it's
Beautiful
a
scene.
yeah, absolutely powerful. And again, there's such an underlying theme between a parent, and I think when people get older and they become parents, or in my case, uncles and godparents, you start to see it from his perspective,
Mhm.
and it's like, there you go, there you go.
The family and Faust element of the Little Mermaid.
Yes. Absolutely. Trent, great question. Thank you for that one. And what's next? From Da. If you could choose any plot for a future Little Mermaid sequel, what would you want it to be?
Gosh, these are hard
Wow,
questions
that's a really
today.
interesting question.
These are so well thought out.
New year, new questions.
Questions we've never ever received in all these years, all these decades. Oh my goodness.
That is a great one.
How about a sequel for Flounder? How about that? Can we go with that? Can I just say
Sure.
we're gonna take Flounder? Of course, we did sort of with the other mermaid movies. We kind of took him where he aged and had a family of his own. Yeah, I guess we already did that. I'm at a loss.
I have an idea. I think it would be really cool to take the story into the future, and maybe tweak it a little. And wouldn't it be kind of cool to be thinking about how the mer people are dealing with what's happening to our oceans?
Oh, yes.
That'd be kind of a cool. You could make an interesting sort of social commentary on what's
Right.
going on with the oceans, and I don't know. That'd be kind of a cool twist.
A
on the
great
whole.
teachable moment for all
Yeah.
of us, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. I still want to see Ariel in a snowbound environment.
Okay.
Just to see what her reaction is. It's just like, wait, this is water, but it's not. Just
You want to combine Ariel with Elsa, right?
crossover that way too. I think it would, be interesting is that here she's knows everything about water, or maybe she doesn't,
Maybe she
so
doesn't. That's
yeah,
right.
so there you go. Da, great question. Thank you.
Tricky
And-
question. Yeah.
Yeah, we like these. Yeah, what do we have next? From Luke. What has inspired each of you to become a voice actor, or I'll expand it, or just an actor?
Right. Well, I was not pursuing voice animation or voice acting at all. My background is theater and Broadway and 8 shows a week, and that's really what my dream was as a child. So voice acting just kind of came into being after meeting Howard Ashman and doing a show with him, and him inviting a handful of us girls to be able to audition for The Little Mermaid. So mine was definitely not part of my pathway, and it was a wonderful, little side road to the right that changed my life forever. So it was a good thing I turned right, went off the beaten path, and it's been incredible.
Everything's been right since then.
Yes, yes.
Well, I was in New York. I mean, I was living in New York as a kid, and I basically got into the business because somebody saw us kids on a bus, I think it was, and said to my mother, like, "Hey, have you thought about getting your kids in, film and voiceover and modeling and all that?" And so it just sort of went from there. And I was the one that started working, and I mean, I was just a kid, and it's been last year was 40 years. 40 years. My first job was in September of 81. So I've been in the business for 40 years.
That's incredible.
Wow.
I didn't realize, Christopher, that you were 15 when you did the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when we recorded it in 87, 88.
Yeah, I think I started in 86, and I think you started in 87.
Yeah. So that would have made me 15. Yeah.
But for some reason, I thought you were older. Did you lie to all of us? No, just kidding.
No, I just, it was that bearing of, I was a very sophisticated young man,
I could have sworn you were 18. I didn't realize you were 15 years old.
Yeah. But you know what? I
Incredible.
grew up in the business. So you just
Right.
become, you just act older. You have a different bearing because it's just a different, and I mean, that's a whole other conversation. For a whole different lecture.
But you started when you were younger. So by the time you were 15, you probably felt like a seasoned professional, I would imagine, right?
Basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
It's not like you were the new kid on the block. I mean, you had been doing this for years at that point.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
right.
probably why I thought you were older, that you came off as between 18 or 20. I had no clue that you were 15.
Yeah. That's why all my friends were older. It was a whole different thing.
Right.
And again, I should write a book sometime.
Yes, you should. You should write a book.
Yeah. But it's so that's everybody thought that,
Fun. Oh, it's so fun. You see, you learn new things here, Patty. We learn new things on our virtuals.
We do our best. We do our best. And Luke, great question. Thank you for that one. And what's next? Here's one from Gene. Besides the roles of Ariel and Eric, what other role remains close to your heart?
All right.
You want me to take that because you have more options to think about?
No, you go ahead.
Spider-Man for me, of course. It's pretty clear. I mean, Spider-Man is a huge part of my career, and it was part of my childhood growing up in the mythology of Spider-Man. And just absolutely. I love everything about the character. I still love it to this day. And so Spider-Man and Prince Eric. I only do iconic characters. That's it. That's the way I roll.
There's a few iconic characters. No big deal.
Eric, Spider-Man, Brady. Yeah.
That's right. No big deal. It's funny because when you are connected to characters, they are like your children. So you don't really have favorites, and they all fill a different part of your heart, I would say. But if I had to choose an additional character besides Ariel, now Ariel, obviously, just because I've been a part of her world for a very, very long time, and still go to the studio almost every week to continue her, life. And so she's obviously very, very important part of my life. But I really loved bringing Barbie to life in this sort of aspect with the Toy Story movies, because she just came alive in a different way than as opposed to a plastic doll that you play with. And she became real, I think. And so that was a special character and fun process to bring her to life in a way that she can be authentic and vulnerable and smart and funny, to give her a little bit more dimension, I think, than just the classic toy that we think about. So yeah, I would probably have to choose her, but don't tell my other characters.
Okay. All right. What's that, Thumbelina? Oh, nothing.
Yeah, don't tell her. Especially don't tell her. She'll get weepy. She cries a lot.
There you go. Gene, thank you. That was a wonderful question. What's next? This one from James. If you could create your own original Disney movie, what would it be called? And what would it be about? Oh, my goodness.
What is going on today?
Wow, those are some pretty intense questions.
Oh, we got some Imagineers out there trying to get some free work out of us.
Man, I mean, I needed one more cup of coffee for today's questions. I only had one cup, so I'm suffering here. All right, I'm at a complete blank.
Your own Disney. It would be all right. Well, let's see.
Yes, you're an author. You're an author. You can.
Okay, here's the movie. It's going to be about voiceover actors that are cast as Disney characters, and so you're going to have the part of them where they go into the booth and they do the recording and they read the script and everything. But then then there are going to be scenes that take place within the imagination of them interacting in the world of the character as the character and meeting themselves as they learn about how to perform the character. And then it'll go to them performing the thing, and then it'll go into their minds of what's actually taking place in their imaginations and their minds as they interact with the character to learn about the character.
It's kind of like what's the Spider-Man universe? What do you
The
call
multiverse?
that?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just going to rob any great idea I've ever had and turn it into that.
I love that. I love that idea. I hope somebody listened to that and is jotting it down.
Yeah, right now, I was going something. They're in the studio, but then they're in their imagination.
You better put a copyright on that patent on that really fast today, like right now.
Oh, we got it. We got it all recorded here. So
Oh, okay.
They're going to tell me you're not right for the role. That's what they're going to tell me.
I'm sorry, you're not right.
Well, we're going to give you an associate producer credit.
Oh,
I'll take it.
Thanks. Okay, I loved the concept of Ralph Breaks the Internet, bringing all the princesses together in a reality way, like when they go backstage and then they go on stage. I loved that. So I think that should go to its own movie. I think and I'm not saying that again because of me and Ariel, and yes, I want to be part of the job, but I think I think it would be tons of fun to take all the princesses and just let them go and have their own movie. I don't know what that would look like, but I do love the concept of on stage and off stage and the relationships that are in between, which would be fun.
I'm genuinely surprised that Disney, after the success of that from Ralph Breaks the Internet, they didn't explore that a little further.
Yeah,
and fingers crossed that they might still.
Who knows? Who knows? Somebody's out there.
Can you imagine if they did a Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, like our dead version of Disney characters from the movies, and it's these animated like subplots that are just going off in different directions from
different
characters.
directions. It's just scary places. Some dark. But I think that scene from the movie with the princesses just elevated that movie to a different place. And I know that when we went to D23 and we surprised all the fans and we all showed up, you could just see that people responded in a positive way, because I think, again, in some way they can kind of connect with one princess or another. So I think it would be kind of fun to see and let them have their own movie and see what that looks like.
You know what was great about that too, when you did that with the princesses, is that it brought and it provided an ability for the people to reconnect with the characters as adults and in a more mature way and in a different way. So
Right.
they didn't just have this anchor of childhood. It moved it to another level for them to participate in the mythology, and that people love that. So when you evolve the mythology in a way that the people that can then relate in a different way, I mean, that's great. And I think that a lot of is what happened with the princess thing. I think that'd be a great idea what you're talking about, because it would enable that sort of interaction with the fan to
see what those relationships are like, and again to kind of bring them more current, a little bit up to date, and that would be something that we could relate to,
for sure.
I don't know, it would be fun to see.
And then in the third act, it's just making notes of my next cold pitch. Okay,
Patty's going for associate producer credit.
yeah. It's just,
and writer,
an associate producer. So we'll see about that. James, great question. Thank you. That was a fun one. What do we have next? Here's one from Gabe, who wants to know: does anybody have any of the original production materials from the film?
Yes,
not necessarily cells, but materials is a pretty broad range.
I do have original cells from the movie. I went to the archives and was able to purchase, and this was a long time ago, right after the movie came out, because at that point, transitioning from hand painted, hand drawn to total CGI and things like that, and visual effects and everything, special effects. So I want to say I may have 12 original cells that are precious, one of a kind. And each of them have a scene or a vision of Ariel in a special moment that means something really special to me. And then I also asked to find the original motion picture posters that were in the theater. And so I have a couple of those that were on display, maybe in New York bus stations, and in California at the bus station that's right near the Disney lot in Burbank. And those are really special. So I think, again, those are just memory things for me. And it's not like they're displayed, in our house or anything. I think I did put one of my special cells up after getting it framed, but they're really just for me to kind of recall how wonderful that was.
Well,
I have one cell also. I just got it in the mail too. Somebody sent it to me. It's a cell of Eric. It's right there on my wall. And it's the moment where he's playing the flute, he looks up and he sees her on the balcony. It's that from that scene.
Oh, wow.
Beautiful moment. And then I got another thing in the mail. Maybe this is 30 something years ago, from the sing-along cassette or something. Like it went platinum.
Yes.
I opened it up and I was like, "Oh, this is cool."
Yeah.
A platinum record. Yeah. So I've got those two things on my wall, and and just they've been up there for.
That's exactly what I have. I have my two the platinum things from one of them's from the sing-along. I think the other one is maybe from the CD, the original CD, and then the one cell that is from Part of Your World that I love. So.
Yeah, our previous ones, when you've set up in there, we've talked about them in the background. So we've gotten to see them. So she's not fibbing, folks. We've actually seen them here.
Yeah, we're not making this up.
The way you want to. So there you have it, Gabe. Thank you so much. And let's roll another one. And here's one from Alex. If Ariel and Eric were the villains, instead, what would the characters be doing?
Well, I think Ariel probably would have stolen the trident from her father, which is a horrible thing to think about. And she would be doing some serious damage under the sea. Yeah, that'd be pretty scary.
I think they would be a pretty diabolical duo.
Yeah.
He would be emperor of the land, and she would be empress of the sea, and they would just be wrecking all kinds of havoc.
Yeah.
And, I think, it'd be terrible.
Terrible. Do some serious damage.
I'm envisioning Eric with an armada of these privateering sort of things on the top, fueled as well by an aquatic army from Ariel from the bottom, and just
right.
Well, he'd be on the ship, and there'd be like the poor coastal town that they're about to raid, and then she'd be summoning tidal waves, and there'd be storm clouds, and Eric would be saying things like "a perfect day to be at sea." I mean, it'd be a very sinister.
But the curious thing is that they would still totally be into each other. They would be. It wouldn't be like each one plotting against each other. You'd be a Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. Yeah, they'd be quite the team.
There you go, Alex. That took us to an interesting place. Man, what's next? From Jessica, who grew up admiring The Little Mermaid. What did each of you grow up admiring?
I think for me, I really admired the artistry of Barbra Streisand. I think as an actress, as a vocalist, as a storyteller, and as a director, producer. And I just thought, here's somebody that can do it all, and as a woman during that time period was really amazing. So I always grew up admiring her, and would play my little, 6-string folk guitar with nylon strings. Probably started when I was like 9 years old. and I had her songbook. And so every day after school, I'd come back and close the door in my little room and play through this songbook. And I actually sang Evergreen. I got hired, probably it was maybe 14, maybe 15. I got hired in my hometown to sing at a wedding, and they paid me $100. I could remember that. It was so much money. It was so much money. And they paid me $100 to sing Evergreen and play my little guitar. And I thought, well, all that time in my room paid off. Like I taught myself that song. But just such fond memories. But yeah, she was, and I still, that's on my dream list, is to meet her one day. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but to tell her what a huge influence she was in my life as a little girl.
There you go.
I was a huge fan of mythology as a child, comics especially, because that was sort of the people don't read like Bullfinch's mythology these days, or so much. That was sort of the modern interpretation of myth. And since I didn't really have a particularly religious upbringing, or no religious upbringing, that place in sort of my psyche and sociologically and psychologically was not fulfilled. So I went to mythology and comics. So I and also for anybody that has read my short stories, you realize that things weren't exactly peachy. So it was a way of escape. It was a way of living in a different world. And so those myths really meant a lot to me. So one of the reasons I got into mythology and history was from those childhood years, those formative years. And I remember reading Spider-Man and Doctor Strange, but particularly Spider-Man. And I remember just sitting as a kid, just, in deep, what now I realize was like deep meditation, just imagining being Spider-Man. And I mean, say what you will, but I mean, I absolutely credit that for one of the reasons I actually did Spider-Man, because when I went into audition, I was just so infused with the character and what he was doing and those different moments in the dialogue. And I think it actually it really translated into the audition. But
I'm
yes,
sure it did. I'm sure it did.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Myth, love myth, big myth geek.
And I'll say this much too. Around the time you would have been reading those books, those were good times for those books. Those are good years for Spider-Man. Good years for Doctor Strange too. Yeah, if you're in the Roger Stern, Paul Smith era, that's
right. And with the X-Men and all that. I mean, of course, what could possibly be appealing about a mythology that says you're a teenager who is discovering special powers that make you different and misunderstood, but if you use those special powers, you can help the world. I mean, of course, obviously, that's a super appealing mythos for children.
Yeah.
Anyway,
very, very, very much so. And Jessica, great question. Thank you. And what do we have next?
Spider-Man, a psychopath wielding powers he has no right to possess, trying to pass himself off as a hero. Well, let me tell you something, kid. You're no hero. You are a criminal, a miscreant, a masked marauder, a menace. Thanks for watching.
As always, the opinions of J. Jonah Jameson do not reflect those of GalaxyCon or its partners and sponsors and guests.
That was well timed.
That was perfect. I was like, what's going on?
I was like, huh?
We're going inside the movie. I was like,
producer Paul has been given a greater creative license during our Q&As now. So.
That's great. That was funny.
He's been doing this. He's gotten his own following. The fans have been like, we want to see what Paul looks like. He's like, nope.
Oh, so he's secret.
He's our man of mystery. Yes.
Mystery man. Okay.
Yes. Yes, indeed. So, here's one from Andrew. Out of all the characters you have played, is there one you feel you have the most similarities with, and why?
Definitely, I think every character that we help to create, we have to make a connection, with that character. We have to find common ground in order to make it real. So I think for me, with Ariel, definitely, there are definitely qualities that I've blended into the character and that have come from the character in the script that have connected with me. But you have to make those connections and those similarities. So her tenacity, her just joyfulness, I think, her curiosity, rebellion. Yeah, she's rebellious, I think, for the right reasons. So I would definitely be able to relate to all of those characters with Ariel. All those characteristics, those qualities I had to bring to her, and she had to give to me, I think, in order to make it work and to have her come to life.
Yeah, there you go.
I know the answer I'd like to say. Like I'd like to think that I'm probably most like Spider-Man Noir, which was this character I played in a video game. And when they asked me to do it, they said, I said Spider-Man. I said I'm too old to play Spider-Man. You know, he's a young. And they said, no, this is different. This is a multiverse thing. This is this is a Spider-Man Noir. He's older. He's darker. He's a little bitter. And I was like, so he's me. I said, I can do that. But I mean, that's the one I'd like to, pretend that I'm most like. But in reality, I think I'm really just a clueless goofball of Greg Brady.
And again,
beard.
You had to bring qualities to each one of your characters in order to connect and make them real for us to be able to enjoy. So yeah, you are going to be a combination of Prince Eric and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And of course.
Absolutely.
And
I'm a giant goofball.
I will always remain a fan of those Brady films. I think Betty did a masterful job. I think it was a wonderful satire, but it was never mean-spirited at any given point. And the fact that everybody's performances was just absolutely straight on, no winking to the camera. Yeah, it just made it
was
work.
An affectionate satire.
Very much so. And all those other remakes of the shows, they missed that point. There was that slew of ones afterwards, and I won't name names, Dukes of Hazzard, but yeah, they just they didn't get the formula that Betty and the team that created in those. So again, kudos on that. And Andrew, great question. Thank you. Yeah, what do we have next? From Eli, did you have any interaction with some of the animators on The Little Mermaid?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I lived with Glenn Keane and his wife and kids for 3 months when I transitioned between New York and LA. We have become such good friends, and I've become such good friends with their family that when I was in between places, I lived with them. I used to babysit their kids when they were little. So, and we're still friends today. And that went way beyond animator and voice actress working relationship. I became part of their family, which was so beautiful. Mark Henn is one of my other animators for Ariel, and we were dear friends, and did something recently right pre-pandemic together. So it is really special to maintain those relationships after all these years. And Mark Henn is still with the company. One of our only animators, I think, that's still at Disney and hasn't retired. One of our directors still is there though too. So it's, it is wonderful to have those relationships. It's funny when we were all working, the animators would have their little Walkman, and they'd be recording us while we were in the studio, and they were in the control booth. And so when I went to back in the day, they were moved off the lot. And that's when Future Animation was over at Burbank at Flower Street in all of the trailers. And so when I walked into the building, you could see all the cubbies. And when I started talking at the front to find out where Glenn's cubby was to be able to go and talk to him and see the sketches, you could see all these heads pop up over, because they could hear me talking. They're like, Ariel's in the house, So it was really, because they're so tuned in to just listening to us with their little daily Walkmans as they're recording with the cassette tapes back then.
That's a great story.
Yeah, it was amazing to meet all of them and all the colorists. And of course, everything was hand painted, hand drawn. So we're just hundreds and hundreds of people involved in our film. But yeah, the animators, well, they bring us to life, I mean, there's nothing without them.
Yeah, I mean, again, I was just a kid, so I wasn't really hanging out with the animators. But or anybody for that matter. But when I was in the studio, I met one animator. I don't even remember his name, but he was a young guy. And they said, "Hey, this is one of the guy that's going to be doing the animation." I was like, "Oh, hey, cool, that's neat." And then they showed me that there was going to be a camcorder that was going to be set up, and I was like, "Whoa, wait a minute! You mean like a camera? Like you're going to actually be filming us?" And then I go, "You're going to be drawing kind of the stuff that's on the camcorder? Like this is high tech, whoa, next level stuff." And sure enough, when I saw the film, I was like, he looks like me and that guy. And my people would see that, they'd see the film and they'd go, "Hey, that's your facial expression." And I go, "Yeah." And so I was sort of amazed at the whole thing. And again, I don't even remember this. I mean, I say, I would now say kid. I mean, he was a young guy. And I don't even remember his name, but I just remember talking to him and about that process. And it was just a really cool thing because, camcorders in the corner.
Yeah.
Amazing. And like you say, Walkmans.
Yeah, right. Walkman. Oh, that's so cool.
Walkmans, camcorders. Google this stuff, kids. Yeah. Or ask your parents. There you go. Eli, great question. I think we have time for one more. Let's see if we can go on a really fun one. And this comes from John. If you wanted to be a contestant on a game show, past or present, what would you like to be on?
Oh my goodness.
Wheel of Fortune. I want to do a princess Wheel of Fortune. I think we'd have so much fun on that.
That would be awesome.
Like a team, because Paige would be hysterical. She would be so funny.
You're right. Oh my goodness.
She is so
That
funny.
would
We
be a
did a
blast.
game show thing for publicity.
Wow.
Stunt. We did this game show. We played headbands. Oh my gosh, I never laughed so hard in my entire life. She'd put it up on her head and it would be facing her. I'm like, girl, that, we had to guess other names of princesses and oh my gosh, it was good. Yeah. I'd like to do Wheel of Fortune. So I'm just putting it out there.
I'd like to do Jeopardy, but only on subjects that I like.
Okay.
Preferably with a multiple choice answer. Things that
The categories are Spider-Man,
that's right.
mythology,
Exactly.
and
History.
Disney animated features from the 80s.
Political subjects, U.S. safety.
That's right. The end of the world.
Foreign naval logistics.
Yes, anything
And-
logistical.
And antique coins.
That's right.
Paranoid preppers.
How to build a bunker would be
That's
one of the
right.
categories.
I think it'd be fun for you guys to go on you and your Disney cousins and peers go on Let's Make a Deal, dress as your characters, but not tell anybody until the end.
Funny. I like that.
Great.
That sounds good. These are all great ideas.
We
Is
could do The
anybody like-
Bachelor.
No, you're dressed as Princess Ariel, and here's your Prince Eric. How fascinating. Do you guys like that movie?
You could do The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, where everybody's a Disney character.
Yeah. That would be funny. That'd be very funny. I would like to do the candid camera thing and somehow incorporate us as surprise visitors into fans' worlds, where they find out the fan obviously loves The Little Mermaid and knows everything about it. And then we do a candid camera with them. I think that would be so much fun.
That'd be great. Can you imagine an amazing race where everybody's their character?
And we partnered up.
I kind of like the candid camera thing. I kind of like the just have a pre-full surprise and just
I love that.
bam, that's very much in line with a Disney magic moment,
Yeah.
that we'd always try to do at the park. So try to make that for somebody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be fun. It'd be
That
super
would
fun.
Or just have an Alan Fudd. We thought it would be funny to have Disney voice actors at the drive-through, taking people's orders.
And see if they could.
Number 4, and a fillet of fish, please. Oh no, those are my friends.
That would be fun. would be great.
Crazy. John, that was an awesome question. Thank you. And Christopher, Jodi, as always, has been an absolute pleasure. Any final words before we take our leave?
Well, thank you so much for having us, Patty. Thanks to all the fans for The Little Mermaid. We love and appreciate all of you. Please stay safe and healthy. And we hope to get to meet all of you in person safely very soon. But thanks for joining us today.
Absolutely. The same thing. Thank everybody. Thank you for GalaxyCon for allowing us to participate in these events. It's always wonderful. And thank you to all the fans and everybody that participates, because again, we wouldn't be able to do this if it wasn't for you. And so thank you, everybody. Stay safe, and thank you so much.
As always, my absolute pleasure to serve you all. Once again, thank you for joining us on the GalaxyCon virtual stage. Thank you to our audience for joining us, and thank you for those fantastic questions we had today. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye. And remember, smiles are free. Spend them often.
That's right.